Welcome back to the farm. I'm Greg. As you just saw right there on the opening, I did finish off the field, getting all the logs and everything cut, and that big mess of trees all limbed up and cleaned up as well as I can for now. This will basically be part 2 of our big gateway project thing that I'm trying to get done. I got to get all the main posts and the bark off of them, and that's where I've got this tool, the Bozeman 3 1/4 inch chainsaw log peeler attachment. You just, normal chainsaw, you drill 2 holes in your bar, bolts right up and on. You do have to get a 2-inch longer chain for it. And it's got these knives on the end that when it powers up, it spins and it barks it. You can even do a bit of carving with it as well. Normally when I was doing logs back a couple years ago, I would have to cut the trees and then peel them with a draw knife, and when the bark is green, the pitch is running underneath it, and you can get this underneath and just pull that bark right up and off. It's really easy to do. But even 10 days after you fall that tree, the the sap starts to harden, and it makes it a lot harder to get the bark off. So I was usually in a rush to fall the tree, get it peeled, and then you could only really do 2 or 3 trees a day if you were lucky. Now that we've got this attachment here, I can leave these trees that have been down for probably 14 months and come back and we can bark it. We can even shave a little bit, and we'll be using that when we build our rails. I definitely recommend getting one of these if you're going to be doing a lot of log work, just because it gives you the ability to fall your trees, store them, come back as you need them and bark them up. You're not rushing into them and trying to do. This doesn't leave as nice of a finish on the logs as coming in and barking them with that draw knife, because when you're just pulling the bark off of the actual timber itself, it leaves a really nice smooth finish because you're basically just lifting that bark that wants to separate off. This here, you're basically cutting everything. Let's get going on that. We need 6 of the short ones done. Brought everything home. I only need 6. I got 8 of these. That's a really heavy big one. I don't really need one that big. I might use that for another gateway where I actually have to attach a gate directly to a short one. These are fairly large diameter, but we are gonna have a tenon joint come in this way, and we're gonna have one come in at a bit of an angle on 2 of them. 4 of these. So I went a little bit bigger because I need to get at least 2 to 3 inches depth on each one. So that's why I need a bit bigger. These skinnier ones here can be used for the 2 end ones that only have 1 tenon being cut into them. If I had the mill running, that would be nice-ish, despite the knots in it, to actually mill into some usable lumber. Don't know if I showed what a tenon joint looks like yet, or mortise. Here's 2 more logs here, but this is what we're going to be using here, this type of joint here. So I got a tool that can cut these, and I got a tool that can cut the holes into our vertical posts here. The reason I brought everything home instead of working at the other spot is how I'm going to treat these is I'm going to burn these. I've seen it done. I've never done it before, but I'm hoping if you torch these, I've seen it done. You burn these until you get a really, like a gator skin almost on them, and then you wash it down, and what that does is it takes like the loose fibers and it locks them down, and it doesn't let too much moisture get in after you've torched them. So I'm hoping it works. I don't know, I've never tried it before, but this is my experiment on a large project like this. But I'm gonna get this running and get maybe one of these ones barked up. Can't keep my phone out because of the over temperature. It's too hot out. I had some issues with the carburetor on this. I had to go ahead and clean this all up, and then I made the mistake of starting this saw. Ooh, is it focused? How you're supposed to start it, by putting it on the ground and putting your foot on here and pulling it, and well, I guess the plastic was old and broke, so still works, but I'm gonna have to replace that plastic. This saw needs to be torn down and a full proper rebuild. I just did a quick get it running because my dad gave it to me, so I thought I'd just get it running to use it for this particular purpose. Here's what we got done. Just test running. You can see the mess that everything makes with these chips on the side. I figured this is going to be a sheep or horse pen, or this is a pen. Doesn't hurt to have some extra crunch on the ground. It cuts right down through these knots really nice. Oh god, I can't even see what I'm looking at because it's so, sun's coming in and I got polarized lenses. You can sort of see, this is how when you're barking it by hand, you can get underneath this here and you can pull this all up just like that. Did you see? Yeah, so that's the benefit of doing it that way. Like, I don't know, I'm gonna see. So that's the benefit. This is an old log. I don't know why it's still, I guess because we had enough moisture this spring that it got under. Usually you can't get that off that easy, so I'm surprised it's doing that. This is just a lot faster, what I just did in 2 minutes. If you don't hold that thing flat to the, you can gouge the sides, so it's a lot. Look at there, look at, oh, that's satisfying, but sticky. Hey, that's satisfying, but sticky. So if you don't hold this flat to the board, you can actually gouge on the sides and it doesn't do so nice, but it works fine if you take your time. I mean, it's faster than doing it by hand, but I'm going to try and get this one finished, and hopefully I can put the camera in the shade somewhere so you can see how it works. Finished, and then I'm hoping I should have some space over here where there's no soil or no greenery, nothing that'll burn like that. And then I'm going to torch this. I'm going to mark my height. I think the thicker end is going to go into the ground, because then we'll have a taper out. I think that'll work better. I don't know. I haven't figured out how it's going in the ground yet. I just got to figure that. I think the thinner side is up and the thicker side is down, but that would allow runoff down that way. But what it does is it also essentially, if you wedge it this way into the ground, so the, like as it goes into the ground, it goes like that, you're essentially wedging it into the ground so it doesn't want to pull up. So that's kind of my theory behind it. I don't know, tell me if there's a better theory behind how these go in. If you stick it into the ground like a point, then it would be easier to come up and wiggle either way. So that's my theory. Thicker end into the ground. So I'll measure up 5 feet, which would be, because I want 4 feet out of the ground. I want 4.5 feet out of the ground, like these posts, 4.5 feet. So 5 feet, and then add 2 feet. So 7 feet, that seems like a lot to burn. Maybe I'll just do 5.5 or 6 feet. Maybe I'll just do 6. And then I'll leave that extra foot. Because we got to keep in mind, when the snow comes, it builds up pretty high. And we want to keep that treated snow. And we're going to be painting the top with linseed oil anyways. So it'll be treated outside the ground. So maybe I'll just do 5.5, 6 feet of burning. And then we'll leave the top 4 exposed to paint with linseed. And then it'll look pretty. Because it's about looking good too. Representation of our farm. I mean, I have a fucking raggedy car lot here, but it doesn't mean it can't look nice. So I just got 30 seconds of doing this because the phone temperatured out. So it's done, but I can't film anything right now. I'm probably gonna let this log sit. I was able to pull some of this stuff. You can see on the side where it's darker there. It was wet from sitting on the ground, and the other side sitting up. And what ends up happening when you leave the bark on, moisture gets into it and then soaks down that bark, and it sits on the high side and the bottom side. And that's, I think, what made that easy to pull off. That's also what rots logs out really fast if you don't debark them. Phone's gonna temperature. I'm gonna finish these tomorrow morning, but I'm hiding in the wheel well of the truck right now. We're gonna let this dry. We'll burn it in the morning. Okay, back like that. Much cooler today, so hopefully I can get some stuff done. I want to test this to see if this flame treatment, flame preservation, I don't know what you call it. I've got my torch out. I've seen a guy use a torch before, so hopefully that works. I just have to bring a hose out here because I'm not sure if you have to wet it, like as it burns and then you hit it with water and that shocks it. I'm not sure if it works that way or you just got the hose to put the fire. I don't know. We're gonna get a water anyways, even though we're on my big pad area here. There's not a lot of combustibles. We just want to be safe too. See if this works. Otherwise, all those ones and the rest I got to do. We got to find a different solution. I might also quickly burn the top to treat that instead of putting my sealant stuff on it, or I might just treat the top. We're also gonna bevel the top when it goes up, so that snow can't sit on it and it doesn't have a flat cup area. So that's the plan. I'm gonna go ahead and get this set up and measured, and we'll get the torch going. Oh, we'll bring the hose out here too. that off. Yeah, need to bark it a little better. I think that's the way it's supposed to go. Sorry, just a sec. Does that pause it? Okay, take these out. Got this gator skin type stuff. I think that's what we're looking for, and you can actually watch the log start to bubble as you're hitting it. I just got to clean these up a little bit better. Not too sure what to do with these cracks. I mean, I could paint it with something, but because that's everywhere water could get in. But I think for the most part, the other issue I got to bark it a little bit better. It's kind of what I think we're looking for. I mean, I've never done this before. My 5-foot line was, I should probably mark it at 5.5, because then that heat transfer will carry up a bit. But if we watch, take this off if I can. Ooh, that actually, there we go. See, that's why I got to get in there a little better. But if we look at these cracks, we actually treated the log about 1 millimeter or 2 into the surface. I kind of like the way that worked. There's the back side. Oh God, that actually heat transferred way around, huh? So I kind of dig the way that's gonna work. Just a sec, I gotta take my earbuds out. Earbuds. Might go through a bit of propane, but it's kind of a natural way to treat it. I have treated stuff before when I built my other big log archway. You can't get in those cracks with that stuff too, so I'm not sure what to do with that. I think just leave it, screw it, see how long this lasts. So the rails on this yard were all done in 2015, and these are still lasting. They're not in the ground, but we're finally starting to get even that one horse fence down there. 2015, I think that was all done. And we're just starting to rot now, which is 10 years later. You see, they all crack regardless, and then what ends up happening, like, look at, so these are all going to need to be replaced pretty quick. Those aren't in the ground though, so the ground offers two things. One, it either expedites the rot because it's stuck around a sponge, or it slows the rot because it's sealed in the ground. So I don't know. So here's the log archway gateway that I did back in 2017, I believe. So that would be 8 years ago. This one here, I don't know if I treated the base or not. I want to say I did, but I really doubt it. So I just got to open this gate. These tenon joints I did by hand, so just a draw knife, and then I formed these. I didn't have the special cutter. These holes, I had a hole saw and a chisel, so I'd hole saw in and then chisel, and then I'd hole saw and then chisel that all out, and that's how I got these all done. So, and then up there to get that fit, those are square tenon joints, and I did that with chainsaw and chisel and a drill bit, a small drill bit. So, yeah, I don't know if I've treated this. I want to say I did, but I don't think I did. I think I just ran them to see what would happen. So these are kind of my control here. There's another fence brace up there that I did treat with a, it's a stuff you buy in a powder form. You mix it with water and you paint it on. It's supposed to be all natural. Carrie and her mom had it, so they said use this. So I did, and it's doing what it's doing. See, this is my issue with the cracks here, okay? So we treat the bottom all up, and then we're going to paint linseed on the top. Well, water will get in here and just run its way down. So if we even painted like a tar material on the bottom, what's going to happen is that water's going to run down there and in behind the tar, and then it'll be trapped. So I'm thinking of just leaving that the way it is and hoping for the best. So these are actually, this is holding up. This had to have been treated or not. I don't know. Even if we get 10 years out of it before we got to replace it, that's a long time. And even if that burning gives us an extra 2 or 3 years, I mean, that's still good, right? I don't know. I'm not wondering if I should put one post out where we're working as a control, so don't treat it at all, and just set it in the ground. Benjamin. You know, then we'll know how long they last, you know? If you're doing this style of thing for actually treating like what's out of the ground, and you don't want this sort of crud on there, I've seen them. Once you do this, you go ahead and you sand this, and it looks sort of similar to this end here, and then you can cover it with your linseed or whatever. I still got to do the end, but that was just a test to see how long it takes to get to this surface finish, whatever you want to call that, and then to see what else I might have to do to prep these to go into the ground. So definitely, like I said, trying to get that off if it wants to come off, and then I've got to prep those other nubbies on the bottom. But I think that's going to be a success. I don't know. You don't know until a couple of years, right? I got boys. Sup, brothers? So, kind of leaves me leery on using fire and cutting chainsaw thingies. Hey, brother. I think that was the right amount of time, hey, buddy? Hi, Hobbs. Good. Not for hobbies. Don't eat that! Little gorp. Hi. Don't eat it. Oh, this is the side we gotta finish. Don't eat that! He's gonna eat it. This guy, man. Hi, bud. See, this is why I'm leery about doing any work out here when you guys are getting rummagers. Ugh. That actually got fairly under there. Hi, Hank. Yeah, your little buddy's right here. See, that wasn't too bad. That burnt a lot of that stuff off. Jeez, hey, buds? That is actually... Look at that. Look at that. That's the stuff you can take off. Nice. Oh. Yeah, I think that's what we want. I think that's it, bud. I think that's treated. God, you're a little goof. You guys. Whoa, hi. Yeah, silly goose. You're a silly goose. Hey. Oh, I think I like it. Oh, God. Oh, my God. Boys. You know, I can't work around here in good conscience until the brew crew decides to take a wander somewhere else. 'Cause I either got fire going on here or this thing running with the cutter on the end. See what happens with these guys and where they decide to go. That one's finished. I went ahead with the debarker grinder tool, and took those. Okay, I got you. Took those ends down, reburnt that side, torched the end here. We got down to our gator scale. I don't know what else to call that, a char. On that side, it looks good enough. You're never gonna stop rot, but you can slow it. So that's the whole goal, is just to slow it down. These fence posts all wear out over time. Tis what it is, but hopefully this can postpone. So I got the next log ready to go. We're here to get this stuff done. Let's get it done. Pitter patter, motherfucker. got everything finished here. I was really hoping to run video of me doing the barking and stuff and then the prepping. So I chainsawed the knots off and get that smoothed out and then bark it. But I'm running out of memory on the phone. So unfortunately it is what it is. I'll get more video when we do the long one at the other side. And we still got lots more of these to go for other gates. But I'm starting to get the hang of burning this more. You're actually looking for a color when you're burning it. There's a specific color you're looking for, like a whitey orange, and then that gives you that gator skin on here. So it's a learning experience, that's for sure. I am gonna definitely, I think, I'm still on the fence about treating it, but I think I'm gonna still paint it with something just for extra security. This thing is a naughty mess, but I still think it's going to look funky when we get it up there. So that's why I'm putting it up, because it's funky. That's my rail. This is the bark mulch we got from that. So either throw this in the manure pile. It'll add good something, potassium nitrate something. I don't know. I'm not good at that. It'll add something. Or we can throw that on the bottom of Mom's garden and she can use that. So I just don't want that around the house. That's bark mulch is super flammable, and we're going into fire season. I don't want that anywhere near my house. So anyways, sorry there wasn't a lot of video on this. It is what it is, especially with running out of memory. I gotta put some shorts out there so I at least got memory I can clear up. So that's the only issue I'm working with right now, is trying to figure out the shorts thing. But I'm getting this sort of figured out. Maybe we'll get some more videos of burning some of these. I might just crank these out tonight because we got weather coming. So the sooner I get these done, then the easier it'll be for me on my end. And it's about me getting my job done and you guys just following along if you can, depending on how bad I am at doing videos.